Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Devita Puji and I'm from school 4, and my student number is 19103021110. And today I want to tell about the novel that I've read before. So what is the title of the short story or novel? So the novel is The Merchant, and the name of the author is Andy Weir. Then the next type of publication, so I read it in PDF format, so it is digital publication. The number of page is 399 pages. And tell me how you feel after reading the short story or the novel. And I'm really excited with this novel because it is talk about the science, talk about Mars, and it is really amazing for me. And do you have any favorite characters in the short story or the novel? Yes, I have, and the characters, my favorite characters is Mark Watney, and mention the reason why you like that or those characters. So, in my opinion, he is genius. Also have brilliant mind. Tell me the point of the story you have read in brief. Andy Weir's science fiction novel is about Mark Watney, a small Aleki astronaut stranded on Mars after a brutal windstorm. Interspersed with cliffhangers, the novel is rather narrow, reading more like a survival manual than a narrative. Nonetheless, it is a good read for teens because it is about creatively coping with constraints and addressing problems using reason and imagination. Although Mars is ecologically unfit for human life, Whitney used what he has to survive. Duct tape is magic and should be worshipped, he says, and his survival is a result of his creative response to unfamiliar habitat. A trained botanist and mechanical engineer, Whitney employs MacGyver-like resourcefulness to do things like make water from carbon dioxide and hydrogen or rocket fuel from water. However, while Whitney's biological drive, information seeking, and ingenious feats are impressive, the novel fails to evoke narrative empathy. Russian author Anton Chekhov believed that the writer should never confuse solving a problem with studying a problem correctly. He claims only the latter is the writer's obligation, where details and resolves a slew of technical quandaries, but fails to address emotional and philosophical fixation associated with the abysmal loneliness, and also after being left behind to an indifferent, impersonal landscape. And also nuanced dialogue, imagery, and subtlety are deficient in a novel that could have intensived the reader's sympathetic identification with Mark Watney, grief, and joy. Weir's novel could have been an evocation of a stark, forbidding, and perhaps beautiful landscape along the lines of Edward Abbey's arid terrain or Joseph Conrad's impenetrable darkness, or it could have explored the pain of separation from the familiar. Although one might argue that The Merchant is a genre novel and therefore does not need to do any of those things, what attracts us to good science fiction is list of all the science. Even though Ray Bradbury's work has the formal properties of science fiction, he attends to language. We linger on his word. The rocket stood in the cold winter morning, making summer with every breath of its mighty exhaust. From Bradbury Merchant Chronicles. This kind of writing demands closer and slower reading and engage us in higher order thinking. So this novel talk about astronaut that live in Mars because some of windstorm and he tried to survive on this planet because this planet is really strange, really different with our Earth, and because as we know that Mars is not fit for humans, so this novel can make us to have something like imaginary about planet of Mars. And after that, as the reader of the short story or novel, what do you think is possibly the flaws of the author in composing such story? Maybe if the writer is using a word that can easily understand by common people, that would be great because not of people understand what the writers talk about because it is science and there's a lot of people will not understand about that. And after that, do you agree with the author's way of ending the story of the short story or novel? Yes, I agree with the end of the story. Write down your own plot starting from the end of the story you have read. Do you want to go to Mars again? Asked Whitney to the boy. Of course I am, said the boy. Then, after they have a conversation and decided to go to Mars again, in the way journey to the Mars, they got some problem. There are UFO coming from above and landing in the rocket field. They confused, like what was that and what they want to do in Earth. Not take a long time, one alien comes out from the alien spaceship. The creator have ugly face and didn't have any arms. They just have legs and their head. The aliens knock the cockpit door with their leg. Yeah, for sure, Watney and his team doesn't want to open the door because they are scared of the alien. Then the alien spaceship shoot a laser beam to the cockpit and destroy the door, also the cockpit. Watney is dead, also his teams. The boy who have just arrived in the field realized that an UFO is destroying the cockpit. Then without thinking twice, he comes back to his house and never think that moment again. Also, he doesn't want to be a witness of the alien attack. And what is the most memorable scene of the story you have read in the short story or novel? When Whitney summoned up the courage to return to the hut and he felt a little more confident. Do you think the story you have read is significant enough for your life recently? Explain. Yes, because this novel talks about space and Mars and I love some NASA stuff and since I was a kid I, to be honest, really want to be an astronaut, but of course it will be not happen. So I still love to, like something like stars, planet, sun. It's just really amazing for me because we can realize that our world is really big and we just a small human being. And what is your score for this short story or novel? For me, it is exactly 8 because I want to give it 10, but this novel is really make me confused with the language that really scientist. Thank you so much for attention and I'm sorry if I make a lot of mistakes. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.